I'm very optimistic on Bitcoin. I own Bitcoin. I'm going to buy more Bitcoin. I also have Ethereum. I have no Dogecoin. To me, that's different. That's a mania. You see, China has not liked Bitcoin forever. In 2013, they said, don't buy Bitcoin. 2014, they said, don't buy Bitcoin. 2015, they said, don't buy Bitcoin. And 2016, I think they said, don't buy Ethereum. So when the press comes out and says the reason Bitcoin crashed is because China trashed it. Well, they've always trashed it. That's not the reason it's crashing. So there's three kinds of people in the world when it comes to money. There's an investor, a trader, and a speculator. I am an investor. So the moment I started buying Bitcoin, I wasn't a trader. A trader is somebody who's going to buy it and sell it. A trader, like in real estate, is kind of a flipper. They buy a house to flip it. That's what traders do. And a speculator is a gambler. And I would say most people who are chasing Dogecoins and stuff, and they're speculators. They're all kind of gamblers. That's not what I do. So I am an investor. I understand trading. That's what Andy Tanner and all those guys teach us, how you can make money going up and make money coming down. It makes no. When Bitcoin crashed, I made more. You see, and the guys who are losing money right now is because you're not a trader, you're a speculator. So don't say, oh, you hate Bitcoin. No, I think you're stupid. That's what I'm saying, but it doesn't mean I hate Bitcoin. Okay, so don't be a speculator, because those are gamblers. See, in 1960 and 1980, my generation, the boomers, didn't like stocks because everybody, at my time of when I was a kid, everybody said anybody invests in the stock market is a gambler. Now everybody's in this. So how did that happen? Well, in 1974, they brought this thing called a 401k out. I won't touch that. I would not touch a 401k or an IRA. Why? Because I don't have. They tell you exactly. They tell you when to wear the mask and get a vaccine. They tell you what to invest in a 401k. So today you have my generation, the boomers. They're hanging on by a thread due to historical events coming in. So now the stock market is at an all-time high. It's nuts. And the reason it's all-time high is because our CEOs are borrowing money from the Treasury to repurchase their own stocks. So we don't have a real economy. We don't have a real stock market. And the U.S., the Fed is greatly in debt. The U.S. is greatly in debt. What happened is in 1987, the stock market crashed. So Greenspan comes out. He's a Federal Reserve guy. Remember, the Federal Reserve is not American. It's not a government agent. So he came out, and what Greenspan put was what I call a PPT. It's the Plunge Protection Team, or also called the Greenspan Put, or also what people say, don't fight the Fed. Basically, what Greenspan did is every time the stocks crash, the Plunge Protection to protect you. So my generation, the boomers, are going, well, I don't have to worry because every time the market crashes, the Federal Reserve Bank and the Treasury will bail me out. So that's today we have our U.S. corporations are zombie. 20% of U.S. corporations are zombie corporations. It means they're broke, but they're being propped up by the Federal Reserve Bank and the government. That's communism. So anyway, stocks get protected. Gold is a good investment. Fed, all the central banks in the world now own. So they're not going to let. So here's stocks. The government will make sure it doesn't crash. Gold will not crash. You know why? Because the Fed doesn't want it. Because the reason I like crypto, the reason I buy Bitcoin and Ethereum and all that stuff is I don't like the Fed. When I talk to most of the young guys, they don't like the Fed either. But the problem is, and this is why you've got to be smart, is that the Fed wants to take this out. The European Central Bank, the ECB, wants to take it out. The Bank of Japan wants to take it out. The Bank of China wants to take it out. So that's why all you crypto guys, you got to be smarter too. We're going into one of the roughest periods of humanity. And the problem is, from my perspective, is the dollar. And so if you understand the dollar, U.S. dollar versus the loonie, it was created in 1913, but so was the tax department. So what they're going to do, we have so much debt today, they're going to have to keep printing. But every time they do that, it creates more poverty. The system is failing. So we're going to have more homelessness, more unemployment, and the government has to print more money. The baby boom generation had it really easy, and that's the problem. And so when it comes to real education, it's like, so the boomers have spent all their lives learning how to use their right hand, and now they know something is changing, but they can't change. So it's like saying I'm going from my right hand, I'm going to have to learn how to use my left hand. And so what happens is the brain gets kind of locked into a mode. And then you have to kind of relearn everything again because learning is really physical. It's not just mental like they have in school. If you look historically, what's happened today is the nominal debt to GDP is a correlation of M2, the volume of money, times the velocity of money. And the reason Yellen and Powell are scrambling is because they've expanded M2, so everybody thinks there's going to be inflation. But the velocity of money is plummeting. People are not spending. So they pump all this money in, prices go up. Meanwhile, the Asians are catching up now. The ports are finally open. So it is transitory inflation. But the problem is we're stacked with this massive debt, and all it's done is bump up the stock market, and really the money has not gone into the economy. That's the sad part. So the rich get richer, but the poor and middle class are getting poorer. It is tragic what's happening.
I just don't trust our government. And they're going to have to start printing pretty quickly. And the more they print, the less value, purchasing power the dollar has, or the loonie, the yen, or the peso. So that's it's not a bet for gold, silver, Bitcoin. It's a bet against our government.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
Do you want to know one thing about crypto? I made over 3,000% in profit in a few weeks. Fact is, the traditional financial system, the traditional money system makes you poor, not rich. If you want to earn $500,000, $1 million, you have to wait until you're 50, 60, 70 in the traditional financial system, and you probably will still be broke. And you will be old. This is not a sexy combination, as you can imagine. But the question is, how can you start in crypto and make these profits? Where to invest? Where to start? My name is Gunnar and I'm from Germany, as you can hear, and things are a little bit different in Germany. More about that later on. Fact is, there are lots of different cryptocurrencies. It's a gigantic universe where beginners and professionals get easily lost. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are 7 key steps you need to follow to become successful in this market. You have to know them, and if you fail one of them, it's literally impossible to succeed in this market. Just an example, one of the key points is your exchange, and one of the biggest are, for example, Binance and Coinbase. These are trusted and well-established exchanges, but, and this is a big but, you won't find the super profitable coins on those exchanges. The unknown super profitable coins that get gigantic profits are not traded on those kind of exchanges. They are traded on much smaller insider platforms that are barely known. And I can tell you what those super secret exchanges are and why they are so profitable. And another super important thing are the right information sources. The point is, the internet is gigantic. There are hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels, blogs, pages, and much more. And there are also market makers and influencers. For example, Elon Musk, he is not a crypto guy, but the moment he recommended Dogecoin, it went through the roof, to the moon, so to say. But why did he recommend it? Where did he hear it from? He didn't hear it from newspapers. And believe me, he is listening to someone. But you have to know who, and you have to react before he is reacting. This is really, really important. And these are only 2 of the 7 steps you have to follow in order to be successful in crypto. And if you want to know all of these steps in much more detail, and if you want to have a comprehensive checklist, here's what you should do. There is a link below this video. Click on this link and you will get the opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Click on the link and you will see a video where I explain the next steps. So see you soon. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.